Hello, dear Aries. If you're hearing this right now, it's not by accident. Maybe you've just come through a month full of change. Maybe you're standing at a crossroads where things still don't have a name yet, but take a breath, just for a moment, and listen, because this October, it isn't just another month on the calendar, it's a turning point in your destiny. A doorway is opening quietly, and just beyond it lies the strongest, most honest, and deeply awakened version of who you truly are. And to walk through that doorway, you don't need baggage. You don't need to have it all figured out. You only need to return to something simple. The light that's been quietly waking up inside of you. That journey begins, as all great transformations do, right here, in the mind. And that is exactly where October begins whispering to Aries. When the mind awakens, the path ahead begins to light up beneath your feet. October arrives not with noise, but like a quiet sky after a long storm. It doesn't push, it doesn't rush. It simply settles in gently, like a drop of light soaking into the deepest corners of Aries' mind. Have you ever sat in the stillness of night and heard something calling from within? Not your thoughts, not your desires, but a voice soft, quiet, unmistakably real, rising from a place in you that feels ancient and somehow untouched. That is when awakening begins, and this October, that moment of awakening may just find its place in you. Clarity won't arrive like lightning. It will come like morning light, gentle, persistent, and unstoppable. You'll start to see old dreams rise again, ideas you once dismissed, paths you thought were too far-fetched, too late, or not meant for you, suddenly feel possible, as if the fog has lifted, and the sky is clear and waiting. But this clarity isn't asking you to understand everything. It's only asking you to begin, because sometimes all it takes is looking again with new eyes, and what once seemed uncertain will quietly start telling you the truth. October is that doorway, an invitation into a new kind of seeing, one that's deeper, more honest, and fiercely aligned with the light inside you. And when an Aries awakens, the world around them stops being a maze. It becomes a map waiting for them to lead. Doubt no longer holds the wheel. In its place, a bold, unshakable trust in your ability to see ahead, to take the leap, to build a road where others only saw a wall. And here's the beautiful thing, sometimes the biggest breakthroughs begin in the silence. So don't be surprised if this month you speak less but feel more. You move slower but burn brighter, because now you're starting to understand the power of stillness, the power of focus, the strength of a belief that doesn't need to shout to be real. You'll begin to trust what you once doubted. You'll trust your intuition. You'll trust a quiet idea that floats by on a windless afternoon. You'll trust a dream you once walked away from. And when you do, that's when the magic begins. Because the moment you begin to believe, the universe starts to move. You won't just see the path. You'll find the courage to take the first step. And strangely enough, every step you take will awaken the ground beneath you. Doors you thought were long shut will softly open. Your mind becomes a torch. And wherever you place your faith, that's where the light will bloom. So let October be the time you start believing again, not just in the road ahead, but in yourself, in your intuition, in the light you were born with. And as that light begins to rise from within, something sacred begins unfolding in the world around you. Because somewhere at one of life's quiet crossroads, someone is already on their way to meet you, not to rescue you, but to walk with you, side by side, in the very same light you've just awakened again. The people who show up in your life are never random. There are days when you're just stepping out for a coffee or casually wandering into a quiet bookstore. And then you meet someone, a glance that feels strangely familiar, a sentence that stops you in your tracks, a moment soft but deep, like brushing up against a frequency you've always known, but never named. This October, dear Aries, the universe is sending you souls just like that. No spotlight, no grand entrance, but they'll arrive at just the right time, in just the right way, as if they were always meant to appear in this very chapter of your story. With your fire-born energy and open heart, you won't just attract people with your natural charisma. You'll draw them in with the light you're quietly waking up inside yourself, because when your frequency shifts, when you become more real, more clear. Then the souls vibrating at that same level will begin to appear. Some of them will walk beside you. They may share your dreams. They may carry a similar scar, or maybe they'll just understand you, no explanation needed. There are connections that don't need time, just a moment, and you'll know they didn't show up to pass through. They showed up to open a door. It might be a partnership that opens up your career, a friendship that heals something you didn't even know was broken, or a love unhurried, unpossessive, but deep enough to make you want to grow. These people won't make you lose your way. They'll remind you who you are, gently, but unmistakably, not to shape you, but to guide you back to a version of yourself you left behind long ago, and suddenly, you'll realize you were never as alone as you thought. Somewhere out there, someone's been looking for you too, with the same quiet ache, the same belief that we weren't meant to carry all of this alone. So Aries, this month, open your heart, let yourself receive, let yourself be seen, let yourself touch something deeper than words, because not everyone comes at the right time, but the ones who arrive now, they are no accident. And if someone came to mind while you were hearing this, maybe the universe is already whispering something to you. Let me tell you this, when the right presence opens your heart, another door opens too, the door to purpose, and calling, no more asking, am I enough? You'll feel it in your bones. It's time, because after every soul-level encounter, there is always a beginning, a quiet, powerful one, where the light inside you is not only seen, but amplified, and from there, a new path begins to rise, not from luck, but from alignment, from the resonance between a true heart and right action. Someone is coming not to fix you, but to walk beside you, and when they do, your life will begin to speak a new language, the one you thought you had to speak alone, but someone's been listening all along. And when that kind of soul-deep companionship arrives, another doorway opens too, a doorway into work, purpose, and a new level of becoming where you're not just seen, but invited into the place you were always meant to stand. When you stop trying to prove yourself, that's when your light shines the brightest. How many times have you felt like you had to speak louder, just to be heard, work harder than everyone else, just to feel seen, push through your limits just to earn a place at the table, and somewhere in that rush, did you ever ask yourself, am I on the right path, or am I just walking faster to outrun the ache in my own heart? Dear Aries, this October, you'll begin to see things differently, because true success isn't about outer glory. It's about no longer having to fight for peace inside. And when you get still, truly still, you'll hear your own footsteps again, and you'll know exactly what path you're walking on. You've made it through seasons where you had to smile, even when your soul felt tired. You've been misunderstood, overlooked, judged too soon, by others or maybe even by yourself. But now what's coming isn't a battle to win, it's quiet recognition from the ones who see what you're really made of. Your career this month won't explode like fireworks. It will unfold like a lotus rising from the mud. Silent, steady, powerful. It might be an invitation to a project you've dreamed of, a promotion you thought would take longer, or something simpler. A moment of being truly heard by someone who once overlooked you. Everything you've been building quietly, all your effort that went unseen, it's starting to land, starting to be felt. Not everyone will understand you right away, but this October, the right people will. The doors that need to open will. The delays that held you back will begin to shift, because you're no longer trying to prove your worth. You've grown into someone who knows that value isn't in what you say, it's in how you show up, in how you keep walking, even on the days you feel like giving up. It's no longer about, what do they think of me? But instead, who am I becoming in my own journey? And here's the most powerful truth. You don't need to sacrifice who you are to move forward. This month, it's your honesty, your quiet resilience, and the light you carry inside that will lead the way. Career isn't just about the destination. It's about the person you become in each decision. Each early morning you didn't want to wake up, but did anyway. Each moment you placed your hand on your chest and whispered, I won't give up today. When you finally see yourself, the universe will too. And the rewards won't come from burning yourself out. They'll come from a quiet truth. You were always enough. Now, It's time to receive. And just when you're being seen, something else begins to stir. Your energy shifts, but not in a loud, explosive way. It's like a quiet fire awakening in your chest. Not a fire that burns, but one that heals. It doesn't destroy, it warms, it revives. You'll feel it clearly one ordinary morning when you open your eyes and realize today doesn't feel heavy anymore. You want to move, you want to create, you want to live this life for real. And from that simple moment, your rebirth begins, not through some dramatic upheaval, but through a quiet flicker, a spark being lit again, gently but enough to light the entire path ahead. When you learn how to breathe with yourself again, everything comes back to life. No alarms, no sunlight bursting through the curtains, just your body, your mind quietly waking you up. One morning this October, you'll open your eyes and something will feel different. Lighter, clearer, still but alive. Dear Aries, you've walked through days that drained you. Days when it felt like your inner fire had burned out. But the truth is, it never died. It was simply resting, waiting for the right time to return. And this October, that fire begins to rise again. Not to burn or destroy, but to warm you, to melt the ice, to bring you back into rhythm with your own life. You'll find yourself drawn back to what once lit up your soul. Maybe it's your art, an old project you tucked away, a plan you thought was too heavy to carry, or simply a quiet desire to live more fully day by day. But this flame is different now. It's not impulsive, not reckless. It's mature, steady, calm like you after all you've been through. You'll feel your body like a finely tuned instrument, moving in harmony. You'll want to clear your space, cook with intention, walk a little slower, breathe a little deeper. This isn't just physical healing, it's a spiritual homecoming, a reunion with the you that got buried under all the outside noise. And from that return, you'll hear your calling more clearly. You'll stop running, stop hiding behind your work, your roles, your responsibilities. This month, you'll want to live honestly with both your light and your shadows. You may cry without knowing why. You may laugh at memories that once scared you, or just sit in your own room and feel like you've stepped into an entirely new world. That's your fire, waking up every cell in your body, reminding you you're still alive, you still matter. And in those quiet moments, you'll start to believe again, in the simplest, most powerful truth. Your presence means something. You don't need to be perfect, or dazzling, or loud. If you're still breathing, still choosing truth, still walking forward, that's enough. And the universe is smiling at you for it. Let this October fire refresh your eyes so you can see that life has always been beautiful, even in the quietest of days. Let it dry off the dreams you thought were ruined, so you can finally redraw the map your way. And once you've found your footing in this new energy, once you've stopped avoiding yourself, you'll be ready to open a door you've been afraid to touch. The door to the deepest parts of your emotions, the unspoken words, the unhealed wounds, the desires you never dared to name. And they'll be there, waiting for you to come home. Holding your emotions in doesn't make you stronger, it only takes you further away from yourself. Not everyone dares to sit in silence and ask themselves, how do I really feel right now? Because sometimes what rises in the quiet is exactly what we've been trying so hard to avoid. Dear Aries, you've gotten used to being strong. So many times you've walked out into the world with a steady smile and unshakable energy, while inside you, there's a river full of words left unsaid. You've said, I'm fine, when your heart was heavy. You've smiled, even when nothing stirred joy within you. Not because you're pretending, but because you've learned to survive by looking strong. But this October, something softer and far more powerful is happening. The universe isn't asking you to try harder. It's inviting you to let go, to take a deep breath, maybe for the first time in a while, and allow yourself to actually feel. And when you do, when you gently listen to what you've held back for so long, something magical happens. No more resistance, no more denial, just release. Like the first rain after a dry season, pouring down in silence, washing away all the dust you didn't even realize you were carrying. You might cry over a memory. You might think of someone who once broke your heart. You might finally face the fear of being left behind. or the ache of a dream that never came true. But this time, you're not facing it to endure. You're facing it to heal. Because emotions, when allowed to flow, will always find their path. You don't need to fix your feelings. You just need to let them breathe so they don't stay trapped inside you, quietly draining your life force. So this month, if something feels stuck in your throat, heavy in your chest, or blurry in your eyes, don't force it down. Write it, speak it. Let it breathe, because on the other side of that pain is a part of you that's been waiting to be held. You may have believed that sharing is weakness, but the truth is, sharing with the right person at the right moment is one of the most courageous things you can do. And maybe what you say will reach someone who needed to hear exactly that. Someone carrying their own silent storms. In speaking your truth, you heal yourself and quietly open the door for someone else to heal too. So if there's something you've been holding in, ask yourself, what would happen if I finally let this be seen, acknowledged, heard? Maybe, just maybe, that could be the first step into an entirely new journey. And often that journey doesn't begin with something big. It begins in a small, honest stillness where you sit with yourself and learn again, learn to understand, learn to forgive, learn to let go. And the moment you choose to live honestly with your feelings, something unexpected happens. You stop feeling alone because you've finally chosen to walk with yourself. And that is the first relationship that truly needs healing. And when that relationship softens, when your inner world becomes more kind, more honest, life, with all its twists and turns, becomes gentler too. And one day, you'll come across something that makes you pause, not out of fear, but out of curiosity, because suddenly, you want to go deeper, not into the world, but into you, into a part of yourself you've never met before. And maybe, just maybe, that whole journey begins with one simple choice: to learn something new, not just with your mind, but with a heart that's finally ready to feel again. True wisdom doesn't come from books. It arrives the moment a lesson silences you and touches your heart. Learning doesn't always begin in a classroom. Sometimes it starts with something quieter and far more powerful. A stranger's story on a bus. A passing comment that lingers in your mind for days. A small moment, at just the right time, with just the right person, that gently shakes you awake and changes you in a way that you can't undo. Dear Aries, October opens a new doorway for you, not to gain more knowledge, but to truly understand something deeper. And this time, learning won't be loud. It won't be structured. It will be quiet, personal, and undeniable. You might pick up a book you've had for years, and suddenly, every word feels like it was written just for you. You might attend a workshop, join a class, or have a passing conversation, and someone says something that stops your heart for a moment. Not in fear, but in truth. A truth that feels like a part of your soul has just returned home. This is the kind of learning that doesn't make you become someone else. It helps you return to who you really are. You weren't born to follow paths, Aries. You were born to blaze them, but to lead with fire. You must first remember why you're walking in the first place. And this month, what you learn won't just be information. It'll be wisdom rooted in emotion, in experience, in a shift of awareness. That wisdom will soften the old questions. It will help you see yourself with more kindness, less pressure, less judgment, more acceptance. You'll finally understand you're always learning, always becoming, and for that, you are always worthy of grace. And once you open your heart to that truth, and not just your mind, you'll feel life quietly unfolding a new chapter for you. Not through force, but through resonance. A new opportunity might arrive, a job lead from someone you just met in class, a project idea born from a casual chat, an unexpected connection that sparks just because you followed your curiosity. Let your heart lead the way this time, because it knows what truly brings you alive. And it also knows when you're ready to pause and learn something new, not because you're lacking, but because your soul is ready to rise. Real wisdom doesn't make you full. It makes you empty in the right ways, empty enough to receive, empty enough to let go of old thinking, empty enough for light to pass through. And when you learn like this with your whole being, you'll find yourself in a brand new space, wider, quieter, and richer in ways no degree could measure. And in that space, a gift is waiting. Not just a shift in your mind, but a ripple in your material world. A new collaboration, a financial surprise, a path unfolding from a passion you almost forgot. It all begins when you're willing to learn yourself again. Not to know more, but to feel more, to understand yourself in a deeper, truer way. And when you do, life responds. Not with noise, not with flashes, but with the soft knock of destiny at your door, waiting for you to say yes. Because sometimes, when your heart is open enough to receive the lesson, your hands are also ready to receive a blessing, far sweeter than you ever thought to ask for. When you truly trust the journey, the universe delivers gifts beyond imagination. You don't need to shout to call in a miracle. Sometimes, the most powerful blessings arrive in silence. A random call with news of a financial refund, a message from an old friend after years of silence, or a quiet opportunity knocking just when you've finally surrendered your burdens. This October, Aries, you'll begin to feel a shift in your financial energy, but it's more than just about money. It's about flow, the kind that begins when you give with gratitude and receive with a deep sense of worthiness. You may be surprised by unexpected income from a side hustle, from a hobby you once saw as just fun, or from someone who once doubted you, now inviting you into something significant. Or maybe you simply start managing your finances better, spending less, yet feeling more abundant than ever. Because at its core, money is not about numbers. It's about your relationship with your own value. And the moment you believe you are worthy of abundance, the world starts reflecting that belief with real, tangible opportunities arriving right on time. Alongside this financial renewal, something else is quietly shifting: your relationships. Those people who once hurt you, you may realize you never truly hated them. And those relationships that fractured long ago, you've been carrying the pieces inside you like silent weight. This month, those invisible threads begin to loosen. Not through painful conversations, but through a deep inner understanding. You start to see the truth behind their actions, and perhaps even more importantly, you see the silent expectations you once placed on others. Forgiveness, if it happens, won't feel like a gift to them, but a liberation for yourself, not because they deserve it, but because you no longer want to carry the heaviness. And miraculously, when the heart softens, so do the connections around you. Those who align will gently come closer. Those who no longer match your frequency will fade peacefully. No drama, no resentment, just calm. Family, friendship, love, when rooted in sincerity, they become medicine for the soul. They become places where you are seen, where you are safe to feel, and where you learn to understand others too. Money and relationships, though they seem unrelated, they move in tandem. Someone who feels secure in love walks with more confidence in work. Someone who receives support financially is more open to giving and receiving love. Both, when built on the foundation of gratitude, become the arms that carry you forward. And as you walk from that grounded space, you will begin to see something clearly. A whole new chapter is opening, not just in your circumstances, but in who you are becoming. No more chasing, no more clenching, no more trying to control everything. This version of you knows when to hold on and when to let go, knows how to trust time, and more importantly, how to trust yourself. A new current is forming. It's not overwhelming, but it's steady, and it's pulling you toward the light of a new beginning. One that you've longed for, but perhaps were never quite ready to receive. Until now. Nothing in this universe happens by accident. Maybe this is your moment to be reborn. One quiet day in October, you might find yourself standing in front of the mirror, not to fix your appearance, but to look deep into your own eyes and ask, am I truly living as myself? That's not a question from the mind. It's a whisper from the soul, a calling that rises after a long journey of transformation, where you faced truth, allowed your emotions to surface, released the old, and dared to learn how to live again. Piece by piece, you're realigning in how you think, how you feel, how you connect, and even how you receive abundance. Not to become someone else, but to return to your most authentic, powerful, and free self. You may have lost parts of yourself trying to please others. You may have overextended yourself seeking validation. But this October, the universe will whisper something gentle yet undeniable. It's time to step out of the old skin. And somewhere in your stillness, you'll know you are ready. No one else can redefine your life for you. Only you can. And the most beautiful part, you don't need to know all the next steps. You just need to be honest with how you feel right now. Because that feeling, if you're still enough to listen, will lead you to the right place, to the right people, at exactly the right moment. And in that moment, the moment you finally say, "Enough, I want to live as my true self," that is when you're reborn, not through some dramatic event, but perhaps through something as soft as a deep breath, a small decision, a quiet turning inward, and everything begins again, but from a new place, from a heart that has been washed clean by experience. Aries, if you feel like you're stepping through a door without knowing what lies on the other side, trust this. You are not lost. You are walking deeper into your destiny. Let this October be your turning point. The moment where you no longer live for expectations, but for the truest call of your soul, where you no longer try to fit the world, but begin to rebuild your world from within. And someday when you look back, you may not remember every detail, but you will remember the feeling. The feeling when every part of you, your heart, your soul, your intuition, whispered in harmony. Yes, this is the moment. Thank you for walking this spiritual path with me. I wish you a deeply grounded, wise, and love-filled October. You are worthy of all the beauty that's coming. You are worthy of truth, freedom, and love from within yourself, and from the vast universe that has never stopped believing in you. Aries, go live the life you always knew you were born to live.